your host, Dr. Davina Jones, Assistant Spiritual Leader of today's church and fivefold General for Church of the Everlasting Kingdom. Just as you need your physical exercises so that your body can be where you need it to be and how you need it to be, you need your spiritual exercises so that your soul can be where you need it to be, how you need it to be. So that your mind can be productive, your thoughts can be productive, your filters can be productive, your emotions, you can navigate your emotions, your heart productively, and you can make decisions. Will, you can act out your will productively, positively, productively, in a positive way. Well, that certainly is a part of the sharing of the midday moment. And it just so happens that it is also the focus for the season of Lent for our network, Church of the Everlasting Kingdom, and our global spiritual communities. We've been studying together out of this book, Spiritual Practices for the Development of the Soul, available on Amazon, written by Dr. Terrell R. Pulley, and I have enjoyed reading through this. It really deserves another read. Many of them do. They just deserve another read. They're easy reads, and so I'm going to challenge myself to make sure I utilize the book beyond the season of consecration. We have made it all the way to day 47. I stepped outside for some fresh air and to reflect on day 47 for the season of Lent. Day 47, sharing your testimony. I don't read the whole passage for you. It's a page and a half. Read it so that you can take notes and allow it to minister to you in the way that it needs to. Different words, different sentences, they reach us in different ways for different reasons. And so read it for your own edification. The scriptures, 1 John 5 and 9, we believe human testimony. But God's testimony is greater because it is divine and it has been given to us about the Son. So that's the scripture reflection. As I read and prepared to think about the questions, because I committed to answering the questions, the study questions, there are three study questions. Average of three, yesterday was four, I think. Um, I it challenged me to be. I went in some places in my reflection that I had forgotten about. And so the first question, or that, I won't say that I've forgotten about, but sometimes you take for granted. And so the reading today and the questions were really good for me because it reminded me of the goodness of God, reminded me of God's goodness. What is your greatest testimony? Because day 47 is sharing your testimony is a prayer. These are prayer exercises, and sharing your testimony is a prayer. I have so many testimonies. The one that is perhaps most heartfelt is in 2009. I had a private prayer that if I was not married in 2010 and preparing to birth my own children from my womb, that I was going to adopt. That was 2009. In 2009, the doctors discovered fibroid tumors that they say are very common and twice as high in black women. And that if they weren't bothering me, no need to disturb them. But if I desired to have children, if I planned on having children, then they recommended that I remove the tumors and give my womb a chance to heal so that I can birth children. Well, I decided to have the tumors removed so then my womb can heal and I can birth children. While I was in the hospital in 2010, the surgery took place January of 2010. And while I was in the hospital 2010 recovering, because I did a full incision, they did a full incision, full bikini cut. I was in recovery. And my niece called me and asked me if I was willing to help her take care of her daughter temporarily. Her daughter was 3 years old. So I became a temporary second mom, and I'm still the temporary second mom. She is 20. She just turned 20. She is my niece daughter, my baby. I call her my daughter, or my niece daughter. She still refers to me as aunt, auntie, and I accept that because I never desire to appear as if I am taking the place or aiming to take the place of her birth mommy. And she has a little boy who I embrace as my grandson. He'll be 2 in August. So the thought of saying by 2010 I will adopt if I don't have my any birth children, and before I can leave the hospital having surgery to have children. I had the surgery to have children. And I remember someone from my mother's church said, "Isn't that something? She had this surgery to have a child, and before she left the hospital, she was pregnant." So I am grateful to my niece for the opportunity to serve as a second mommy. And I'm grateful to my great niece who allows me the privilege to be that nurturing presence in her life, and to be Gigi to her son. He's in there now with his nana. That is one of the most incredible moments of my life. Before I left the hospital, I was in the hospital bed when she called to give me the opportunity to love her baby with her. How often do you share your testimony? I haven't shared that as often, um, because that testimony just it came with a lot of human navigations. I always desire for my daughter to know that I love her. And in one conversation, we talked about, not wanting to feel like a charity case. So I'm very mindful of how I tell that story. And I'm very grateful because a lot of people often said in her younger days, and I consider how she heard it, often said, "Oh my goodness, she's so blessed to have you." And I started saying to people, "I'm the blessed one because she has taught me more about myself than probably any other person." Because kids see you literally and metaphysically with your clothes on and your clothes off. I know there are sometimes some conversations about that, but my daughter has seen me metaphysically and physically, clothes on and off. They know your real story. They know your real story. So while you might smile in public, they know your real story. And they desire you to be accountable and honest about your real story. hmm Wow. Hmm. I feel a lot. Number 3, last question. What resources do you utilize to share your testimony? I have not put that story in writing or publication. I've only shared it verbally. And I desire to share that with her as she evolves. To own my story, my therapist said it's very important that I own my story and own my vocabulary. And yet I share space and reserve space for how she desires to share her story. And so mostly by oral tradition here, all right? You want to call this, if you wish to call this a publication. So and last thing I'll say is most times I share it in very private conversations, one on one, as an encouragement to other people. So so I share it. I've posted and shared celebrations with my daughter, but the testimony in itself, the testimony in itself of how we evolved into relationship together, I share that more privately, um, one on one to encourage people. Yeah. Anyways, I felt a lot in that today. That's just one testimony, and I have felt so much in that testimony. Interesting. That being said, I love you and I encourage you. Digest, reflect on these questions. Let it be a blessing to you. Don't just boop 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 boop, but take time to reflect. Okay. I love you. God bless you. God